Hey guys, I'm coming to you today from the lush hills of Warwick, New York. So, I was listening to Mark Levin on the radio yesterday. And anyway, he's like a big Cruz supporter. Honestly, he hates Trump. That's the only reason I'm really listening to him right now, because normally I disagree with Mark Levin on pretty much everything. And he started talking about how like it was bullshit that Obama made a speech about how we should be tolerant of Muslims. And I'm like, that's not bullshit. That's decency. That's what a normal person would do. A normal person would be tolerant to all people, right? You shouldn't be a bigot, and say that, oh, now I hate all Muslims just because they're associated with terrorism. It's absolute horseshit. But anyway, he was talking a lot about this whole Ted Cruz sex scandal. He says that like Donald Trump like started it or something. I really don't care. But what I want to talk about today is American flag. That guy is a fucking tool. But anyway, what I want to talk about today is the deficit, right? And I think a lot of conservatives say, oh, well, Bernie Sanders is going to increase the deficit. It's going to be too much because he wants to implement all these programs, free public college, universal health care, all these things. And they say, well, there's never going to be enough money to pay for all that. Well, I think that Ted Cruz, and I'm not even going to talk about Trump because Trump is a moron, and if he ends up actually winning, then, I'm just going to leave America. So I'm really not concerned with Donald Trump's fiscal policy. But, Ted Cruz, and to a lesser extent, Kasich, these guys are going to increase the deficit just as much as Sanders is because they want to cut taxes. Sanders wants to increase taxes and increase programs. And the conservatives want to do the opposite. They want to decrease taxes and decrease programs. But you know what happens when you decrease taxes? It's going to increase the deficit by a lot, okay? And that's what people don't get. So you essentially have two choices. You can have the deficit increased with Sanders, where it's increased through higher taxes and more programs, universal health care, free public college, etc. Or you can have the deficit increased through the conservative route, which is to decrease taxes. If you decrease taxes, that decreases the amount of money that comes into the government. This is what people don't get. So you decrease taxes and then you decrease programs. But you know what the conservatives want to increase? And this is what Mark Levin was talking about, which is what made me think about this topic. Mark Levin wants, and Ted Cruz wants to increase the budget for the military, of all things. The military. So you're talking about decreasing taxes and increasing funding for the military, which is already overfunded. And I think Sanders actually wants to decrease the size of the military. Here's how it breaks down. Sanders is increase taxes, increase things, programs that actually help people in the country. Healthcare, education, housing, whatever, all that stuff. He wants to increase the stuff that is actually relevant in people's lives, right? But he wants to also decrease military spending. Cruz wants to decrease taxes and increase military spending. How the fuck does that make any sense? Okay? We already spend more money on the military than any other country. And yet somehow these fucking right-wing nut jobs seem to think that we're falling behind militarily. No. Fucking, I don't get it. We have nukes, okay? Sell them to our allies. Get a little bit of extra cash. Or the fact that you have them means that nobody else can do shit. And plus the drone program is fucking absurd. I mean, Levin was talking about yesterday on his show about how there's not enough funding in the military for fighter pilots to be able to like practice flying. He said they need to get 40 hours a month of flying in to be ready, and they're only getting 10, right? But guess what? We don't even fucking need pilots anymore, because all we do is use drones and just fly them unmanned and then spy and fucking drop bombs on the Middle East without ever even having to put an American in harm's way. I don't like drones. I think drones are, they're like the next, like WMD. Or first it was chemical weapons, then it was nuclear weapons, you know. There's WMDs, weapons of mass destruction, and I think they're inhumane. I really think that drones are inhumane. But I accept them as a part of this reality that we live in today. You know, there's collateral damage with them and all this stuff, but anyway, they're there, and they're here to stay. Drones aren't going anywhere, they're just gonna keep going up. And you don't need a pilot for them. So Mark Levin, we don't need to increase military spending. We need to decrease it. That's like the main thing that needs to get decreased. It's the military spending. If you're increasing military spending and decreasing taxes, then you just clearly don't give a shit about the people of America, because what people need is not more bombs being dropped on other people. What we need is food. We need healthcare. We need education. That's what the country needs. That's what Bernie Sanders wants to provide. And that's why I'm going to vote for him. Okay? So when your primaries come and you're a Democrat, vote for Bernie Sanders. And God willing, if Sanders wins the Democratic nomination, vote for him for the general election over Cruz, over Trump, over Kasich. Kasich isn't going to win anyway, but Cruz or Trump, vote for Sanders, okay? Sanders cares about Americans. He cares about helping people in a way that is tangible, you know, in a way that will actually feel the help. Feel the help, feel the burn, vote for that guy, and fucking conservatives, everybody, we don't need to spend more money on the military. We already spend too much as it is.